We have been talking throughout the day about the creeping and in some case lurching events of our time that were it all to have happened at once rather than over a gradual 30-year period probably would have had everybody in America in the streets, from the national security state to what's going on in our airports to the evisceration of our social safety net to these insane for-profit health insurance companies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And in the last hour, I read at some length from Milton Mayer's, now deceased, from his book, They Thought They Were Free, where in 1945 he went to Germany and interviewed 10 good Germans and asked why and how. And I shared with you how one, a college professor said, you don't see this happening on a gradual basis. It's only when it starts really getting in your face. And is it now really in our face? Stephane Hessel has seen that and is seeing this now. He is a diplomat, ambassador, concentration camp survivor, 93 years old, former French resistance fighter and BCRA agent, born Germany, became a naturalized French citizen in 1939, participated in the drafting of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. He's the author of several books, including most recently, just published in the United States by 12 publishers, Time for Outrage. Stephane Hessel, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you. Glad to meet you, Mr. Hartmann. Very proud to be talking to you.
Thank you. It is an honor to have you on our program, sir. I never learned French. The indigez-vous?
Yes, indignez-vous. The "n" is very difficult for a non-French person, but you will learn French. I'm sure you're still very young. You have time to get acquainted with that strange language.
Bless you. So that is indignation, basically, or time for outrage. Time for outrage. You say, we are told shamelessly that the state cannot bear the costs of certain civil measures anymore, that the wealthy have installed their slaves in the highest spheres of the state. I'm quoting from your book. The banks are privately owned. They're solely concerned with profits. They have no interest in the common good. What has happened to the notion of the common good in the face of all these conservative governments around the world?
It has been completely overrun by something which I consider to be really a lobby, but a worldwide lobby with people like Milton Friedman pretending that any intervention by government in the sphere of economics and finance is just bad. Let us financial tycoons do what is good for us and never mind about the government.
And you talk about two visions of history. What are those two visions of history? That's your second chapter.
Yes, because I was a great friend of a German philosopher who is well known now, Walter Benjamin. He was a good friend of my father's, and I met him just a few days before he unfortunately committed suicide on the Spanish-French border. He had the feeling that progress was something terrible, that was pushing the good things aside and making humanity grow more and more irresponsible for public good. I think he was exaggerating, and I tried to convince him that there were forces still alive, and I still believe that there are forces, progressive forces, and that they can overcome this unregulated and corrupted lobby of finance.
So well said. In the previous hour, I mentioned Robert McKee in a seminar that I attended of his long ago, and he said that on screenwriting, and he said the opposite of love is not hate; it is indifference. That's the polar opposite of love. That is the extreme opposite of engagement and or apathy. You have your third chapter is the worst attitude is indifference. Your comments on that, sir?
I think it is unfortunately so that many young people, even in all our countries, are only intent on getting a job, getting a house, and they're not really interested in the way that their countries are being driven. They are part of a triangle composed of government, of financial forces, and of the citizen. If the citizen doesn't get his government to resist the economic and social egotistic, selfish forces, then he will be overcome and the government will be overcome. And my fear is that in this marvelous country, the United States, for which I have a real passion and for which I've always had a passion, particularly since President Roosevelt gave us the Charter of the United Nations, and in this country today, it seems to me, there is a lack of support for those who really want to get the country out of the financial lobbies.
This is an extraordinary little book. It's sort of like Mao's little book. It's 41 pages long, a little red book, Time for Outrage by Stephane Hessel, and 4 million copies it's sold around the world. How has your book influenced the European, shall we call them revolutions, people in the streets?
It is, I think, it came at a moment where indignation was already very much alive, but it struck also at a moment when the Arab Spring started. And they are also forms of indignation against their tyrants, and they managed to get them out in a non-violent way. I preach indignation and non-violence. Both, I think, go together. And what we need in all our European and extra-European countries, my book has been translated into 30 different languages. It shows that it comes at a time when people just no longer want to be ridden by forces that they do not really control.
And we're talking with Stephane Hessel. Am I pronouncing everything right here, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Stephane Hessel, his book is Time for Outrage from 12 publishers, and it's in bookstores now. Sir, your ending chapters, your call for action, basically, is nonviolence and a peaceful insurrection. How does that happen?
Well, in some cases during the past century, we have had enormous progress through nonviolence. I always call on people like Martin Luther King or like Gorbachev or like Mandela. It is not impossible to achieve a solution to basic problems without violence. But of course, the temptation is there. And for instance, in Palestine, there is a temptation to be violent against Israel, just as there is a great temptation for Israel to be terribly violent against Palestine. That is not going to solve this important problem. It is through non-violent negotiations, but they should be supported by the great forces of this world, and particularly of this marvelous president that you have elected, Barack Obama, which should have put all his weight behind the solution to the Near East problem, and unfortunately, he has been overridden by lobbies such as the IAPAC and others, and therefore he is not doing what he should be doing to solve the Palestinian problem. You
have, in your lifetime, watched a number of revolutions, from the revolutions in Russia, revolutions in Europe, the fascist revolution, the overthrow of fascism. What's, in the minute we have left, sir, what are your thoughts on the near future, the coming future?
I think we are on the threshold of a completely new human society, a global society which will understand that competition, that selfishness, egotism is no longer the way to treat the very serious problems that are in front of us. Problem of great poverty and enormous riches. Problem of the earth being overexploited. These are problems that can be treated only with all governments together. We have an instrument for that, which is the United Nations. It has its headquarters here in this very beautiful city of New York. And I wish that the United States would support that instrument much more strongly than it has done in the past years. Then we are able to find a new form of compassionate, interdependent solidarity of all the 193 nations working together. You sound like Dag Hammarskjöld in that regard. Thank you so much. Time for Outrage, Stephane Hessel. Thank you so much for being with us, sir. Thank you.